Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back. This is I'm going to do a real short video today on what it means to basically to have destiny helpers. I'm going to look at the story of Joseph in Genesis chapter 37, starting in verse 5. So Joseph gets this prophecy, and it says, "Now Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. He said to them, 'Please listen to the details of this dream, which I have dreamed. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and lo, my sheaf suddenly got up and stood upright and remained standing. And behold, your sheaf stood around my sheaf and bowed down in respect.' His brothers said to him, 'Are you actually going to reign over us? Are you really going to rule and govern us as your subjects?' So they hated him even more for telling him about his dreams, and for his words that they considered arrogant. But Joseph dreamed still another dream, and told it to his brothers. He said, 'See here, I have again dreamed a dream, and lo, this time I saw 11 stars, and the sun and the moon bowed down in respect to me.' He told it to his father as well, and as to his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him in disbelief, 'What is the meaning of this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers actually come to you and bow down to the ground in respect before you?' So obviously his prophetic dreams early in Joseph's life, signified something. Obviously God said, he sent two dreams. When you get two dreams of the same dream, if it's prophetic, it means that it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen for sure. They were two different dreams, but then they had the same meaning behind them, pointing to a future time. And so what I want to talk about when it comes to destiny helpers is that many times destiny helpers don't at all look like what you think they should. Because a lot of times, you'll get somebody help you in a situation. It could be your car could be broken down, just about anything. A job situation where somebody out of the blue comes out and offers you a position. Nothing you are expecting. And it could be something that completely changes the course of your life. But many times they don't look like what you thought they would, or even if God tells you something's going to happen, the way that it goes about, it's something you never expected, and it's not the way you expected it to happen. Here Joseph has this prophecy early in his life. His brothers hate him. So the first person I would say the destiny helper in his life would be his brothers. You can definitely say Reuben was one, but as well, brother Judah changed his mind. So at first they wanted to kill him. Judah wanted to kill him. And these were obviously because of they had different mothers, so there was a sibling rivalry because of Jacob's different wives. In this case, Judah ends up being the one that changes his mind, and then Reuben was the one that was trying to save him. So they ended up being destiny helpers to him. Instead of killing him, they ended up selling him to the Ishmaelites, and then Joseph goes off and gets sold. Obviously, the second destiny helper in this case would be Potiphar. And even Potiphar's wife, Potipharah, I think her name was, she would be considered a destiny helper because it wasn't his final destiny. Had he not been sold to Potiphar, he would not have ended up in the king's jail. The king's jail was kind of like a special place. It wasn't your common prison, so he wasn't imprisoned in a basic prison in Egypt. He was put into the actual Pharaoh's prison. Obviously, Joseph had to wait, and I forget the amount of time, but it was from start to finish by the time he was sold, 13 years or something like that, by his brothers, to the point where he actually was in command. And so he had to go through a lot of patient waiting in the process. And then the third set of destiny helpers would be the cupbearer and the baker in prison. And essentially the cupbearer. God had given Joseph the dreams that the cupbearer was going to be restored to service, and then the baker was going to be hung. So they were destiny helpers. They were the last set of destiny helpers on the way to Pharaoh, to being his second in command position in Egypt, so that he could save God's people, Jacob's children. And really, as all of us are heirs of this as Israel, we would be grafted in. But that the fact that Joseph was sent ahead to save the people and to build them up, and that they would eventually become a nation, that they are even today. So these were very unusual destiny helpers. Some of these people even wanted to try to sell and kill Joseph, and Potiphar's wife he almost died a second time because he easily could have been killed by Potiphar because of the accusations. An amazing thing was that Joseph still had character throughout all the trials. We see at the end, even with his brothers, at first he's kind of giving it to him a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he knew it was them. He didn't tell them right away that he was Joseph, but he waited a little bit to basically. I think at first he wanted to punish him a little bit, is the way I read that. But at last he just wanted to reveal himself and tell him who he was. And so there was a lot of drama with the whole thing. But, a lot of times the destiny helpers, it's not what you think it is. It could be somebody even that's against you. But because the sovereignty of God and the favor of God, if you're seeking Him with all your heart, then He will bless you with favor, even in situations where that destiny helper might not look like he's for you, but in the end, the destiny helper will get you to the next place of where you need to be so that God can bless you with the full blessing of whatever He's told you. So I hope this encourages you to stay faithful to whatever God said and to trust that He will send destiny helpers to help you along the way. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.